Good evening. I'd like to go ahead and call the regular board meeting for the Toledo Public Schools Board of Education to order for Tuesday, July 27th, 2021. Treasurer, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Barnes,
Present.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Here.
Mr. Vasquez,
Here.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Here.
Mrs. Barway.
Here. And we'll move on to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Dr. Durant, the mission and vision, please.
Yes, Toledo Public Schools' mission is to produce competitive college and career-ready graduates through a rigorous curriculum across all grade levels by implementing Ohio's new learning standard with fidelity. Our vision statement to strive to be an A-rated school district with graduates are college and career ready. Thank you.
Thank you. And would you like to continue with section 2 of the presentation?
Yes, I'm going to turn the presentation portion over to Ms. Mazur.
Good evening. I forget how to work this. Yes, tonight I have the honor to read the names of our recent retirees. If we have anyone here that is a retiree, please come forward and shake everyone's hand here at the Horseshoe. Pamela Engelhart, she is a cashier at Wade High School and she is retiring with 27 years and 8 months of service. Paula Gladio, she's a teacher at Oakdale. She's retiring with 29 years and 6 months of service. Gayleen Gorel, she's the working site coordinator at Kaiser. She's retiring with 29 years and 8 months of service. And Mr. Jose Luna, a teacher on special assignment, 29 years of service to TPS for a total of 116 years and 2 months, and we wish them all the best.
We certainly do. Thank you so much. Moving on to section 3, community comments, and I don't believe we have any for this evening. Section 4, comments by the board. Mr. Vasquez.
I don't have any comments.
Ms. Eichenberg.
I want to say it's a pleasure to be back. I'm very excited to see students in our schools before we have our next regular board meeting. I did want to take a moment to just acknowledge and raise the issue that you know, we've put out that communication about what our masking policies will be in our schools. Anything that we do and all the steps we take this year can and should be subject to change as necessary. We know we're starting with one path. We have to watch the numbers. I currently don't feel good about the trajectory of the numbers, and I've shared my concerns with Mr. Gant. But clearly our priority is to keep the kids in school. However, we have to do that. So that's what you know, I'd really like to be able to facilitate this year. So just appreciate the community understanding it's a complex issue. And unfortunately, the state legislature has decided to make themselves a part of the issue so that when we make the decisions, we now have to dance around legislation that doesn't even make sense. So just wanted to put that out there, and hopefully people will understand that we are being careful, thoughtful, and always looking at the data, and we'll continue to. Thank you.
Ms. Barnes.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to say also it's great to see so many people, a little nervous, but it's great to be in the boardroom again. And I am so happy, I'm proud of our staff and present board members because we are vaccinated, probably vaccinated, so we are able to sit together right now under the CDC guidelines without our masks. So hopefully this can continue as long as we all follow directions from the CDC. And I would like to also take this time to think about our teachers, our educators, and our staff. I saw a post on Facebook that said teachers don't start working after the summer of the day school start. They work through the summer. And I know as a daughter of a teacher or educator, lesson plans, ideas, and those things started literally in June for my mother. So thank you to the staff and the educators, and I hope we have a great return start.
Ms. Gherkin.
Thank you. So I was remembering that the last time I was actually in this building was to record my graduation speech with the same team that we have at the back of the room today and out in that hallway from the year before when we were fully virtual on our graduation remarks. So it's really weird and good to be back in person, and I'm glad you mentioned the fact that we are all fully vaccinated, so we're safe up here, and we're working really hard to make sure that teachers and students are safe when school resumes. I would also remember that in this building we have lots of adults who are working, and sometimes though they have spaces that are maybe separate from one another, that it may not be as easy to fully socially distance day in and day out, and so we want to make sure we're protecting folks here and continuing to encourage vaccinations among our adults as much as we can. In fact, maybe even incenting them some kind of way to continue to increase our vaccination rates among the adults in our district. Thank you, and it's good to see everyone.
Thank you. And you know what? I could echo everything that you guys just said up here, and I couldn't say it any better. I'm thrilled that we're back here in person. It's so great to see people in person instead of through a little teleprompter or a computer screen. So I am excited about this coming school year. I have a kindergartner. As a granddaughter, I have a kindergartner that's headed off to school, and she's super excited. And I love that excitement and that attitude where it's fresh and new and just in the world of possibilities. So that's how I'm going to look at this school year. No matter the challenges that we face, no matter the challenges, we have to consider the grace that we need to put over all of our district and our families in the community. So I encourage everyone to get vaccinated. All right, with that said, let's move on to section 5, consent agenda. Agenda items 5.01 through 5.07 are the consent agenda items for this month. Board members may request to pull an item from the consent and move to the discussion section of the agenda. Items 5.01 to 5.05 are human resources. Chairs Polly Taylor Gherkin, co-chair Stephanie Eichenberg. Items 5.06 to 5.07, Finance and Business Operation Committee. Chairs Bob Vasquez and co-chairs Chris Varwig. I'd like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Barwick.
Yes. Thank you. Section 6 is our discussion section. Do we have anything? Nope, we're good. And section 7, walk-ins, and I don't believe we have walk-ins this evening. Okay. Then section 8 is early childhood education. Action item, chair is Polly Taylor Gherkin, co-chair is Sheena Barnes. Ms. Gherkin, we'll turn it over to you.
We just have a few housekeeping pieces that need a vote today. My question would be, can we bundle these for, we can, okay. So
Yeah.
these are just some contracts,
Contracts can be bundled.
okay, so these can be bundled, so we would just need a motion to bundle 801 through 804.
I'm sorry,
moved.
801 through 803 can be bundled, the contracts. 804 needs a separate vote.
Got it, okay. So let's start with, I'll move 801 to 803.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Barwick.
Yes. And then 804?
And so this is our annual report. Do you want to say something about that, Dr. Allen? It's pretty slick.
Thank you. Yeah, we do an annual report as is required, and it's really fun and exciting to do it every year and see how many things have changed and how we've grown. This past year obviously was full of challenges, but we were happy to be able to report out all of the extra hard work that our folks did and still show some positive outcomes of our early childhood programs.
Thank you, it's beautiful. I would move that we approve the annual report.
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gherkin,
Yes.
Mrs. Barwick.
Yes. Section 9 of the agenda consists of the early childhood education reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings and are provided here for information and reference. There's no action required, and we can proceed on to Section 10. Are there any walk-ins for early childhood? Nope. Okay. Sections 11 through 13. We are already towards the end of our meeting, and this might be the second fastest meeting we have, right? Dr. Grant, our superintendent.
Yes, wanted to welcome you back and wanted to recognize a couple Eastsiders that graduated from my alma mater, Wade High School, Mr. and Mrs. Mize, and congratulations to Mrs. Mize, who has been successful in being placed over at Elmhurst Elementary as the principal. And obviously, you know, Mr. Mize, who's been working with us for some years, so it's always great to see TPS products become TPS employees and go on to lead in their own space. And so that's been the mantra, that we educate you here to give you a job here, to live here. So they are a true example of that. So it's great to see each and every one of you and look forward to a great year. TPS proud.
Thank you. Mr. Sexualty.
The only thing for tonight is that we keep, deciphering, but reviewing the new state budget, and with all the changes in the funding formula, we're still waiting on information to come out of ODE and how things are gonna look. So we're hoping to have it for August, but maybe September, some obviously budget reductions based on how they're going to fund the private charters and vouchers. So we'll be adjusting those things come. Hopefully we get it done by August, but I'm not sure that ODE will have all the numbers for us yet.
Yes.
Can I clarify? So I think what I just heard is that we don't know actually what we're funded for right now, and we won't until August or September. We have a general idea, but we're not clear on what the deductions will be for charters and vouchers. Is that correct?
Correct. And the main reason for that is because they haven't done the student counts. So that will also come into play when we're looking at our state funding, if all the students come back or if they don't come back. So the funding will be based on the students that will be here, and they're doing the counts the same way they have in the past.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else with questions? I mean, we always question what's going on in Columbus, right? All right, at this time, this is our second round of board member comments. So, Mr. Vasquez.
I just want to say congratulations on a Wade alumnus. I think I graduated at the same time Dr. Grant did. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. But I also want to make a comment about the vaccinations. We keep hearing it over and over and over again. But the issue that was alluded to is our numbers are going in a bad direction. So this is no time to let up. I want to encourage people to be vaccinated. We need to do everything that we can to try to combat this virus. We just need to keep that up, because I just want things to go in a positive direction, and it affects all of us. It affects the staff, the students, the board, the community. It affects everybody. So I really appreciate everybody doing their due diligence and doing everything that they can to try to stop this bad direction that everybody is going in, not just our community, but the whole country, it seems like. So that's all. And then I think the other thing is that I think it deserves an explanation for why this meeting is so short as well. We normally don't meet in July. I think it's still July. We normally don't meet in July, and we don't have a lot of committee meetings in July. But there is certain business that we have found that we almost always end up meeting in July anyways, even though the meeting is not on our regular calendar. So that's one of the reasons this meeting is so short. We had to take care of some business, so we all had to get together and do that, which is something we do every year, but usually it's a special board meeting. We just put it in as a regular board meeting this year because we knew it was coming. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. Ms. Eichenberg.
Thanks, just looking forward to the school year.
Ms. Barnes?
Thank you, Madam President. Once again, I'm very excited to see our youth and families back in the hallways, but I also want to encourage everyone what they can do, how they can do to help decrease our gun violence situation. We had another incident at a park in daytime, and it's also impacting our TPS families. So it's time for us all to do something, whether it's listening to our kids, talking to our kids, but also showing up when they need us. Thank you.
Ms. Gerken?
Thank you. I do want to piggyback on something that the treasurer mentioned when he said the word student counts. This is a request that we kind of run the projections or any red flags we have on enrollment in the coming year through the appropriate committees in the coming weeks to make sure that there isn't anything we should be working hard on to make sure that we either get students back or find students who just didn't attend at all during the virtual year and really account for those. So I'd like to see those reports to hit at least a couple of committees in the coming months so that all of the board members get an opportunity to learn more about that. And also to our new principal, you know, this seems like, well, we just voted on the whole HR section and here's your appointment, and that's kind of it. And it usually is kind of it, but the idea that we get to see you is great. And here's the funny thing is I was on my way here and I got a text from a mom at Elmhurst. Do you know anything about if we've got our new principal or not yet? And I was, I have the car can text for me, so I was not texting and looking at my phone, but I said, I will know in an hour who that person is, because I had reviewed the section previously, but obviously didn't have it in front of me. So that's the kind of school you're going to, where the parents are texting board members saying, hey, do we have a principal yet? So they're really looking forward to you, to you joining them. So that'll be neat that I can answer that question directly here as soon as we're done with the meeting. So congratulations. I think you're going to love the Elmhurst family.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I will say that, I just want to say, I got the opportunity, I feel really blessed, but I was able to go to the Ohio Public Leadership Academy, and it was a group of elected officials that were selected from across the state of Ohio. There were only 20 of us that were selected. It was the third, I think it's the third group that have gone through this academy. But I was the only school board member, and I was amongst mayors and city councilmen and commissioners and recorders, and so I felt very honored, one, to be a school board member there, but also to represent our area. I was the only one from our region. But one of the things I took away from that Leadership Academy, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat or independent. At the heart of anything are relationships. And so, I was able to walk down High Street eating ice cream and talking with a mayor who is a diehard Republican about, things that we may agree on or not agree on. And it was just so great to have that ability to do that. I feel like it's, our politics have just become so, divisive is a great word for it. And it was just really heart-filled that I could do that again. One, because we're vaccinated, and have that opportunity. And I think really at the heart of all of this is relationships with our students and our staff. And I would say to our new principal, relationships matter, and hopefully you will build great ones with your community in the Elmhurst area. So we look forward to having you here. We're thankful that you're coming home, and we just hope for a really great year. All right, anything else for the good of the cause? Great. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Eichenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Mrs. Barwick.
Yes.